is Germany. This is the southwest of Germany, enjoying a beautiful evening with sun and rain. Welcome everybody. This is SEEBURGER. My name is Thomas, and I'm very happy and glad that a couple of minutes my colleague Lucas will join us, because today we talk about a very exciting topic. It is about AI workflows, life integration reimagined. It was hard for us to put the title in some small letters. But relax and enjoy, and hopefully we can show you something that raises your interest. So just these things up front. Yeah, documents will be sent. Please submit your questions during our presentation. It is very convenient for Lucas, who is doing now later on the demo, if I pick your questions and I try to react to your questions during his presentation without interfering too much. And one of the things we really beg you, be so kind and answer 3 small little questions at the end when you leave this webcast. It helps us tremendously to adopt our presentation, our content, to make it more convenient for you. Also, this is something which governments ask us to do, so all good. You will receive it in the slides you will receive later on anyway. This is Lucas. He is the star of today's presentation, and the boring guy on the bottom, this is me. I'm Thomas, and I'm glad to introduce you into the topic. Why are we here today? We're here today to talk about this. This is a boring email. Nothing that really shocks us, nothing that really is somehow specifically outrageous, but as we are all working in the world of structured data and information, doing our tasks day by day, we normally do not pay too much attention to the fact that a lot of interaction, specifically in the B2B area, is still done by email. As being a German, the joke is on us if everybody is laughing about the Germans, about our strong attitude not to give up facts for B2B integration, which is a joke still. We already have a little bit evolved. But what I'm saying internally, email is the new fax, because now that we receive information like this, standard order information by email, is not really solving the issue that this kind of information has finally end up in a back-end system in a structured way. What you see on the right-hand side is a faked UI, but you know what I mean. What you see here on the content is exactly what is forwarded on the left-hand side by the email. And how does this magic happen? That this information from the email ends up in the back-end system. It is not magic, it is human work. So a lot of people are busy with handling unstructured information and transform them in a readable format, because, as we all know, our world is directed by IT, and IT requires us to work on structured data to do all the next steps and to start and initiate business processes. So we are specifically talking about this colleague, which is sitting here and doing this kind of work day by day, printed out an email or watching an email, and then key the information into a backend. And it is just an example. There's many examples where this kind of stuff happened. We have a lot of that stuff. For example, 80% of all your support inquiries to SEEBURGER we receive by email. Nobody is really excited to open a form and key in all the information in a form, but the backend system requires that. So we as human beings, we follow and key everything in forms. And we hate it. We do not like it, but we have to do it. So today we talk about how could we make this kind of things more cleverly. Is that possible? Yes. Otherwise we would not talk about it. What we have identified and what we have tested and incorporated in our new product offerings is how could we expand the scope of classical integration, which is based on structured data and rigid integration processes, into unstructured data and more dynamic processes. This is something that AI allows us to do. So punchline is AI makes smarter workflows and deeper integration. And you will see in the demo how this can happen. And just to make it more easy and more clear, what we know and what we understand looking back, classic integration connects apps, but AI helps us to understand them, understand data, understand what applications require. And automation, because when we do B2B integration, we do not more, not less, but automation, yeah, that a process that also formerly required people to key in information goes beyond this traditional rigid integration processes. We're not questioning the necessity of rigid integration processes because of most of the cases, rigid integration processes have their value. Repeatable, reliable, always the same result. We love it. That's great. But how could we expand the scope of what we do with an integration platform? AI helps us to expand this. In this context, we also would like to make you familiar with operational reality, which is around buzzwords. I think we all have heard the word AI agent. And if you would like to impress somebody, you're saying, oh, we are now doing agentic integration. We work with AI agents, but a lot of people read it, but they have not too much context. What does it mean? What is this AI agent? I can read it. I can understand it. It's a piece of software that uses tools to fulfill a task. Nice, but what does it exactly mean? And today we would also like to share with you what we have learned, because what we will show you today is, on the one hand side, a topic that we call, or is in generally called, intelligent automation, which is taking the value from classical integration and improve it with the help of AI. And then we will show you the same task. How could it be addressed with an agentic workflow, with an autonomous agent? What is the key difference? And for us internally and also with people we shared, it helps a lot to have the same process and regard it from different angles to see the differences. The goal is the same for both. As we talk about automation and integration, we are purely focused on tangible outcomes, not on being excited about technology. We always try to evaluate, does this technology really address an issue? Does it help to speed up a process, to reduce the costs? And as we know, does it also provide governance? Is that possible? So just to see the difference, and you will see it later on, thanks to Lucas, on an example in our demo. What is the difference between a deterministic automation and a more autonomous dynamic reasoning? Pretty simple, because this helps to understand what kind of role does AI play. As said, in an intelligent automation, we use advantages that an LLM provides, which has not been possible before, and combine it with the value and the stability of classic automation. So we have still a static linear workflow, a process, but we use AI in this workflow to do something new. And here, an autonomous agent is slightly different by characteristics. It is not so much depending on a script, on a checklist, on a workflow that we have to develop or that we have to create in an integration solution as our business integration suite. It provides more the capability that it learns from us. What is the overall objective? What would you like to achieve? And then the AI helps to tell the system what kind of steps have to be executed to achieve this and what kind of tools have to be used to achieve this result. And don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of you are experts in this topic, but it helped us internally also to explain the difference to different kind of people, to say, let's take a kid's messy room, because we all know what it means. We have been kids, most of us have been, or some of us have already kids as they are parents. So a kid's messy room is a scenario everybody understands, and what we all would like to have, or our parents would love us to do, clean up your room. And the tools that they provide us is a hamper, a toy box, a vacuum cleaner, whatever, something to remove dust from somewhere, whatever it is. So we have a goal and we have tools. An intelligent automation, a deterministic workflow is, make a step-by-step approach, a checklist, and the kit is executing on it, and comes all the time to the same result, which is great. But as you see in this beautiful picture, which is of course AI generated, there's a sock appearing on the floor. And if this vacuum cleaner is swallowing the sock, everything breaks down. Unexpected thing, vacuum cleaner runs through it, complete process stops. Compare it with a reasoning model. So the kit is not receiving a checklist, but the kit has the capability to think about what is the right process, the right steps to do to achieve the objective, to clean the room. And in this case, the kit has seen, oops, it's better to remove the sock first and then execute all the other steps. So the kit is aware of all the toys, but makes a decision what is the next appropriate step to achieve an objective. This sounds a little bit stupid, but keep it in your mind, because Lucas will now then help us to understand, to execute the same task, to follow up the same objective on these two different ways. At SEEBURGER, we have subordinated this kind of scenarios under the umbrella of AI orchestration. It is very hard to find a simple word to combine all these capabilities. As you know, AI is exploding. We see more and more use cases and capability to use it. But the baseline is, how could we, with our BIS platform, leverage what AI helps us to do and incorporate it in offerings that you can use? Some of you have already heard that we have, in the tooling of our system, incorporated AI, the AI-enabled orchestration layer that helps you as users to achieve tasks more quickly and more governed, and also with more trust, because you are cross-checked by an AI to say, oh, this and this is the next step to do. But also, how do we achieve to incorporate the advantages of an AI model into integration scenarios? So what I did in summertime, I leaned back and I thought about this initial example of the email. And I thought about, is it possible to take an email, which is coming inbound, and somehow, with the help of AI, make a data set out of it to forward it to a backend system, that this could be automatically booked? So I wrote down what I thought this process should look like. Oh, you have to check the email. Is it really an email? Is it complete, etc. pp. And I found my hero, Lucas. Lucas was in the inconvenient situation that he was also not running away to holidays. So he was the guy I found in the desktop. And I said, Lucas, you're my hero. Please help me with the tool that SEEBURGER provides to make this thing happen. And Lucas is our expert in AI and in IWS. IWS is an add-on to our business integration suite that is specifically made for people like Lucas to address requests, as I have talked about, pretty easy, pretty quickly. Having said that, I welcome Lucas. Please, if you have any kind of questions, drop it in the question box, and I will pick them up and I will ask Lucas during his presentation in the right context that he could react to the questions. Lucas, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas, for the introduction. I hope you can already see my screen. If not, I will wait for some seconds.
Perfect. Yeah, it's perfect.
Very good, very good. So, well, yes, to be honest, when you came towards me with the idea that we could receive order mails and transform them into structured data to upload them into a ERP, I was a little bit hesitant about if we can really make this work during the summertime. But I also thought, well, let's give it a try and let's see what the integrator workspace, which is our new integration platform, can do about it and how it can help us. So first of all, I thought about what do we actually need to make this happen? So, well, you need at least a post box, which we installed here. And you can already see that there is a order mail incoming, which I made up. We also installed a little ERP. In this case, it's Microsoft Business Central with some test data that you just need to receive order, like some customers, some product items, and so on. And we installed ChatGPT in our own Azure environment to have an AI that we can call and can ask about emails and maybe transform the emails also into structured data. And then, for sure, as I already told you, we needed a middleware. In this case, we used the integrator workspace. And let me give you a quick introduction in what the integrator workspace is. It is, to summarize it on a very high level, a low-code environment, which makes it really easy to implement API and AI workflows in an easy and fast way. And as you can see here, we have assets on the left side, which enables user like me to connect to various systems very easy. We have some modules for flow controls to build up automation workflows. We have mappings that you can use to transform data to any kind of other data. And we also have templates for subflows and so on. And what you can see here, for example, is that I used, at the very first step, I just used our AI connector to tell the AI that I need some sample mails that I can use to test what we want to do. So I just used this connector, which at this very moment can connect to OpenAI and Anthropic, and this low-code configuration mask to connect to our LLM, which sits in our Azure tenant, to then tell the AI model, please generate me random order mails, and I also gave it the test data of the ERP that I had. And what's also important about the integrator workspace is that it's not only made for integrating AI, it's also powered by AI. And this becomes clear if I go to the next connector. This was about connecting to our postbox to send emails. And I didn't know how to do this, but I also didn't need to know how to do this because we also have AI integrated within the integrator workspace to support users like me on how to connect to several third-party systems. And I just can ask this AI anything. for example, just explain me this connector. And as the AI, this specific AI knows the documentation of the connector, it can then also give me answers on how to use it. That's not the only AI that we have. We have another AI which is made and knows the documentation of the integrator workspace itself. So this is a second AI is about using the functionality that is already there within integrator workspace. And we also have a third AI, which I personally like very much, which is about creating documentation of the flow that we have just built. So for me personally, it saves me a lot of time because the documentation is always the thing that I can't do because I don't have enough time. So this being said, and this being the integrator workspace introduced real quick, I moved on with the use case and built this linear deterministic flow, however you want to call it, to make happen what Thomas wants. So he said to me that we receive emails via a post box, and we should then analyze those emails if they are really orders. If there are no orders, we should just reply to the customer that this specific post box is just made for orders and they should use, if they have, for example, a complaint, another email address. However, if this was an order, we could then move on with the process and check with the help of AI if the order is complete. So if the order wasn't complete, we would then jump again in this sub-process, which also, with the help of AI, would then create a reply to the customer saying that the order isn't complete and, for example, on position 5, the article number is missing. On the other hand, if the order was complete, we would then jump into this third step where we use AI to then analyze the email and fill in structured data. In this case, it's a JSON format that Business Central needs out of the email. And this is kind of the hard piece of the whole process, as we use AI here to transform like unstructured data and structured data to then upload it to the ERP. And the rest is really easy. We then use the predefined Business Central connector to upload the JSON file that we just have generated and get back an order confirmation from Business Central that we then use to write an email to the customer with the actual order confirmation towards the customer. And now I just test the whole flow so that you can see how it's working. Oh, let me test it again. So this is strange because it just tells me that I have an incomplete order. Maybe some of my colleagues just used the same post box to send orders to this post box, which are incomplete. But you can see here that the flow is really working, as we now received the email that I have missed an item number and also the desired delivery date. So let me just see if I can fix this real quick.
While you do this, because it is not, as we usually say in software business, this is not a bug, this is a feature. So what has been proven is that there was a triage, a check. And in this deterministic workflow, it was working well in a way. There was identified an order, a mistake, and it was an email sent back as promised. And while Lucas is trying this out again, because he is so eager and so motivated to show you the success, I would like to answer the question that popped up in our question box. The question had been, how do you ensure that business data is not exposed or retained by the LLM providers? And the answer to this is, well, what we do here, we have an Azure tenant, and so by default, Azure is assuring this by the regulation of Azure in their business contract that this will not happen, that this data is separated. What we have on our roadmap is, you have seen we include Anthropic and we include OpenAI, ChatGPT. We also have a connector in place which will be published in a couple of days for Gemini, and also for further LLM models that could be used in your own secured environment, for example, open source models. So answer to the question is, by default, by the contracts and by the assurance of the hyperscalers, that they do not retain or expose the data. And secondly, if you do not want to have this and you would like to run your own build-up environment based, for example, on open source LLMs, you can also do that, of course, which gave Lucas the time and I can forward to him.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So yeah, thank you very much for giving me the time. You just have seen how robust the flow actually is. I unfortunately got an incomplete order in the post box, which I didn't believe was there. However, what I just did was that I really quick used this flow to just generate another random order mail. I received it here and I send it back to the post box that we are using and run the whole process again. And now you see, as I just randomly created a new order with the test data that we have, it's complete and it's running through. I will go through this real quick again. We got the message, we analyzed it. If it's an actual order, it was. We analyzed if it was complete, it was complete. We transformed the email into a JSON format, uploaded it to the ERP, got back the order confirmation from the ERP, and created an email message back to the customer. I should have received this email by now. So this is it. You can see here what I have ordered and also the price, which is cool because we didn't give any price information initially. This came from the ERP. And this being said, I'll just jump to the ERP real quick. This was order number 83 at the end. I'll need to get this here. And as you can see here in the ERP, we have exactly the data booked that we wanted. So I ordered the 20th of October as delivery date, as this was the AI using this date as last modified. I could have changed that earlier. However, it is what it is. And that is exactly what we sent in via email. The other thing that I would control real quick is that there's 0 euros, but I expect this comes from the ERP as we just didn't have any price in the test data. So the AI made a very good job transforming this email one by one. And well, it works like 99% of the time. AI is never 100% right about what it's doing, but it was really astonishing what results we could achieve with this little flow already.
And me as the business owner in, let me say, the colleague to colleague game, yeah, as I sent this email, my request to Lucas end of July, of course, it was for me extremely important that this kind of email inbound works as far as possible to 100%, or somehow, yeah, I need an exception. I need something that this process is going somewhere else, yeah, for manual human in the loop interference. So what I learned from Lucas is that he decided this deterministic approach, where I said, well, think about the kid's messy room. Yeah, he told here, step by step, what should be done. The so-called triage to identify, is it an order, what is in the email? If not, do this, do that. So he explicitly designed any kind of steps which is required. And that helped us at the very end of the day to achieve the same result over and over again. So we were designing test tools, and what Lucas has shown you, when it was not working, it was still working as it should. So we incorporated AI and its beautiful capabilities to transform from a unstructured input into a structured information. We have uploaded the JSON to tell the AI, this is exactly what the result should be. It is not up to you to decide what kind of JSON or any kind of JSON. This is the JSON we need. And AI brought us beautiful results. And then, as we had been motivated, and more or less we had been the only one in the office anyway, we sat together and we continued the play game. So I was the business owner and he showed me this. And I said, well, cool, I understand what you do. Here it goes left, here it goes right. Yeah. And then we could improve and iterate and elaborate the process a little bit to say, wouldn't it be great that in this case we would do this, we would do that. And Lucas was able to react immediately and instantly to everything I asked him for. Yeah. Oh, wouldn't it be great to do left or right or this and that, to make another step of triage? What impressed me as the business owner when Lucas is scrolling down, that the complete process ends up on an end-to-end view. So it is not like we post the information into the back end. It is the complete process, which includes also that we send the final result back to the original email sender. And this was absolutely great. I could understand it. I worked 1,000 years ago as a consultant on products that are already not there anymore. Yeah, in very, very old times of integration. But I could clearly understand what he's doing step by step. I can ask him, do this, do that. And Lucas was able to follow up my needs and my requirements immediately. What amazed me was, I sent my email to Lucas on, I do not know, a Wednesday, 11 in the morning. And I expected him to come back by the end of the week. I said, can you show me some first results by the end of the week? Yeah, this is 2.5 days time. You have maybe nothing to do. So by the end of the week, any kind of feedback would be good. I was completely surprised that he pinged me on Teams the next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, and he said, watch. And he shared his screen and he showed me that. And I have not expected that he had already finished the complete stuff. So this was for us both amazing, that from my piece of paper, can you do this? He was coming up. Of course, we iterated a little bit here and there, yeah, but the base process was set up. It worked. Everything worked. Integration to the back end worked. So I was completely astonished. And when I asked Lucas, what had been that cost you most of the time? It was time that had nothing to do with the process or with the tooling of us, of SEEBURGER. Oh yeah, I was setting up the back end. It was to create test data. So, but all this was done within 24 hours gross. And so I was saying, you don't have to excuse or explain. I clearly understand, but this is amazing. And so in those days, Lucas and me, we looked at each other and saying, great job. We have achieved something that we have not believed is possible before. And when we shared this with Daniel, a cool colleague of us, also working in the headquarters, he was saying, nicely done, but what is about the next level? Could you transform this kind of deterministic workflow into an agentic one that you do not have to explicitly think about the kids' room, make this kind of script and checklist, that you simply define a goal and provide to the tool what kind of things shall be used to achieve this goal. So what Lucas will show us now, he will turn from this deterministic and show exactly the same process, boom, as simple as that, as an agentic tool. And Lucas will explain us what is the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you already explained it quite well when you told us about the kid that should clean its room. The deterministic flow is giving the kid a step-by-step documentation on how to do this. And the agentic AI flow is just giving the kid, respectively the AI, the overall goal to tell him there's an email coming in, you should check it. If it's in order or not, you should also check if the order is complete. If it's complete, please book it to the ERP and get back to the customer with an order confirmation mail. And then just give the kid or the AI the tools that it needs, and it will do his job. So the send mail no order tool would easily just be this here. This is just those two connectors hidden in a subflow. The send mail order tool is in the end just this 3 steps, some code to generate the email and the connectors to Microsoft Craft to send actual emails. The book order to ERP tool is then just that, an AI that transforms the data and a connector that uploads the data to the ERP. I think you get the hang of it. You just cut this flow into pieces and give it in form of tools to an AI agent, and then in the end tell the AI agent, again in a structured way, but it's still a prompt, what it has to do, and it will do its job. But in this case, we don't need to think about, oh, what do we do first? What do we do secondly? What is the best flow? The AI decides on its own what is the best flow. And now I let this run. This will take quite a few moments. Usually it takes between 30 and 50 seconds, as the AI is now thinking longer. It doesn't have so much structure. It needs to build its own structure on how to proceed on that. But in the end, it will find its way and will have analyzed the email and will have the order booked within the ERP and will send out an order confirmation. So while we are waiting, are there any questions so far?
Yes, I will come back to a question, but for me it's also important just to summarize. When we saw the difference, we clearly understood, number one, we can use things we have created, assets, as the connectivity to the backend, and we can reuse it and provide it the next time to an agent. Beautiful. We had been asked internally, why have you not related to MCP as a protocol to interconnect with? And we said, because for us, we have not required MCP in this scenario. It was a bigger value to have pre-configured components or components like Legos that we put together for a certain objective and reuse it. So we can build up an own library of reusable assets, and then we do not have to incorporate them in a deterministic strict workflow. We can provide it to an agent to say, use it for the best, in the best way to achieve an objective. What we also learned, as you see here, oops, using an AI agent is like waiting for the kid to make the plan to clean up the room. Yeah, logic, it's reasoning. The kid thinks, and this takes a while to define the right strategy and plan to execute to address a specific objective. So the process is slower, which can be a disadvantage with heavy loads. And secondly, for us as being, let me say, conservative, as we know classical integration, it provides us more transparency and traceability if we have a strict, a deterministic flow as we have been used to it. But it helps us tremendously to build trust in this agentic technology that we see. Now we see the difference, and we can all the time decide what fits better for our requirement. And as said, with the kids' room, if the environment is more fluffy, there could be socks on the floor, it makes sense to use an AI agent to have a better result based on the conditions. That was a very important learning also for us. We just have now decided to make both, just to show you the difference with the same scenario. And one of the questions we received in the question box is there a way to use AI to check in the sub backend, for example, to determine if a particular customer PO is already in and booked? If not, book it. If yes, do something else. Could be an order change. And the answer is yes. And this makes it so beauty to use IWS, this kind of simple user interface that helps also with business users to discuss about it, to say, what if we are receiving then an email with an order change? So first of all, we need to know if the order already exists, and we can adopt this flow that you see in the deterministic way. We can adopt this flow, and we can say, oh yeah, before we book it, we ask the question, we call SAP. We do not need to have AI for this, because this is deterministic. We receive within the JSON the original order number of the customer. We use it. We make a call into SAP. RFC could be an API call to ask, does this order already exist with this original order number from the customer? We get the result, and this drives the process. The thing is, what we learned is AI, use it in the deterministic way where it absolutely makes sense, and be so happy to have the classical integration for SaaS connectivity, for backend connectivity based on modern real-time interconnection like APIs, to enrich the workflow, to make it more properly. So the question is, yes, it is possible. Yes, it is just another iteration in improving the process. Yes, it could be easily done if you interact with people from business that come up with this requirement that you said, thank you, we have not thought about it, let's integrate it. Cool.
Yeah, I could add.
And do not want to exceed too much. Bottom line is, what we have shown you today is this IWS, which is a new kid on the block of our business integration suite. So it's the same BIS platform as before. It is just an expansion of capability, but it fits so super perfectly for SaaS-driven, API-driven, and AI-driven scenarios. It is unbelievable how fast we have achieved this kind of results, and we can trace it, we can govern it. When Lucas showed you in the beginning that we can create documentation, you say, sounds nice, sounds interesting, but why do I need that? Well, governance, yeah, you have to document all the processes within your integration platform, your automation platform. that you can later on prove this was running in this version, blah, 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 at this time, and this is the documentation. So we have some more questions. Is the AI functionalities available on-premise, cloud, or hybrid SEEBURGER deployments? This kind of integration of AI capabilities is available for all kind of deployment scenarios, although IWS is a cloud-based interface. So you do not have to deploy it. It's a cloud-based interface, and it incorporates with BIS 6.7 server, no issue at all. And based on that, we also have more flexibility to run it more next to AI models. There's another question popping up. Is the integration tool available in the USA? If yes, what version solution for the US customer need to have in order to migrate to integration suite? The general availability of this, because we have made a controlled ramp-up period, will be early next year. It is available in the US, sure, of course, no issue. And for any further questions, you might ping your point of contact at SEEBURGER, yeah? How to get in touch with it, how to test it out, how to achieve your first results on that.